Hello everybody, it's Queen Agnes. Welcome to QueeenTv, where I encourage everyone to be earnest and brilliant and overall empowered. Welcome back to part 2 of the relationship goals series. I hope you guys are excited as I am to continue talking about this topic. The title of part 2 from Todd from Transformation Church is called Single Not Alone. The first point that I put is we put marriage ahead of relationship. One thing that I did notice as I was watching his series is that every time he's talking about being in a relationship with someone, he always mentions marriage. And when he mentions verses in the Bible and pertaining to relationships and all these things, they're always talking about marriage. And I just noticed that anytime we get in a relationship with someone and we start dating or whatever the case is, marriage should always be the end goal. We should never just get with someone just to get with them, just to have fun, just to test out, try out the waters. No, our end goal should be marriage. And I know sometimes it doesn't always work out, but our goal should still be marriage going into it. Singleness is most important. And guys, I am so sorry that I say so much. I just had to say that. When I'm editing, I'm like, why do I say so much? That's why when I'm editing, there's so many jumps and slides and swifts, because I say so much and it irritates me. So I don't want you guys to be irritated. So I try to remove a lot of the so that I say, but I'm so sorry that I say so and I say a lot, that I'm always mispronouncing things. Anyways, singleness is the most important part of your life, okay? And right there, I just have to say that point, because that's what he says. When he starts off, he says singleness is the most important part of your life. And we're going to see that in this lesson, so I don't really have to go into too much from that point. Point is, we are so sick of singleness that we think marriage or relationships can solve our loneliness. Okay, we're so tired of being single. We're ready to mingle, you feel me? But yeah, a lot of us are tired of just being single, and we're tired of it. We see all these people in relationships and we want that too. And a lot of times that's why we rush into getting into relationships or even marriage, because we're just so sick and tired of being alone. I've been alone for 19 years and I'm sick of it. I want a boo thing, you feel me? Come on, I'm tired of being single, yo. So because we're so tired of it, we feel like we're so lonely and we feel like we just need somebody. That's why we end up rushing into these relationships. I don't know how else to say it. I'm pretty sure we can all agree to this. We see it, we go through it ourselves. There's not too much explaining that we can do. I feel like that is a valid point that he made. We can only love our neighbors as much as we love ourselves. You hear me? We can only love our neighbors as much as we love ourselves. And when it's talking about neighbors, anybody in this world is our neighbors. We can only love anybody else that is not ourselves as much as we love ourselves, because we are created to love ourselves. That root of evilness that began sin in the first place of self is rooted in it. So our nature is naturally selfish. Our nature is to naturally love ourselves. That's what started sin. That was the seed of sin. It all started with self, me, I, me. As much as you love yourself is how much you're gonna love someone else, because you have to experience that love for yourself, and that capability and that ability that you're able to love yourself is going to be the same amount that you're able to love someone else. That is why that point that he made, that singleness is the most important part of your life. It is the most important part of your life, because this is when you learn to love yourself. And so if you skip that step, then you're over here trying to learn how to love yourself through loving someone else. That's not how it works. We're over here flipping steps, and the Bible, listen, this is not my word, this is not Pastor Mike's word. The Bible tells us the order in which we love, and the order is love God, love yourself, and then love others. Before the person, which was the first part, is all about loving God, getting that relationship with Him, trusting Him, building that relationship with God. And then this is step 2, yourself. Now it's your season of singleness. So it follows the steps. And that's why I really, really like these series, because when you just really think about it, it's just common sense, and it just makes a whole lot of sense. Like when you start putting 2 and 2 together, it makes so much sense. Like you don't even have to question anything, because you think about it yourself and you're like, wait a minute, that makes sense. So yeah, so first, love God, love yourself, love others. Matthew 22:36-39. And it says, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind." So see, love God, love the Lord, love God. Like missing that step in our lives is going to cause us so many misery. Missing that step of loving God, which is building a relationship with Him, which we skip so much, is why we're miserable. And then it says, "This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like this: love your neighbor as yourself." See, the Bible says to love the neighbor as you love yourself, because God knows how much we love ourselves. And I don't know how else to say this. We know, you and me know, that we love ourselves so much, so much. Like, okay, let's say when we're eating, right? And there's like, say there's 2 slices, and then one is a little bit smaller, and you're like, and you know, and your friend, your partner, whoever it is, wants a piece too, and you're looking at it. You don't. Sometimes you don't even recognize you're doing it, and it's not even something that takes so long for you to think about. It just happens quickly, and you don't even notice. But you give yourself the better looking piece, right? And you give them the other. Don't lie. I saw you doing it on Thanksgiving. I know you did on Thanksgiving. Because it's just our sinful nature to do that. So I don't know how else to explain that part, that we cannot love other people more than we love ourselves. So that's why it's so important to learn how to love yourself. Your partner will never feel the emptiness that you were never okay with and filled when it was you and God time. You hear this? This is a very important point. Your partner will never feel the emptiness that you were never okay with. See, you had an emptiness in you. So you thought, I'm feeling so lonely. Like, you thought that if I got a boo thing, if I got a boyfriend, if I got a boo thing, I can say boo thing. Okay, so you thought if you got a girlfriend, if you got a boyfriend, that they're going to feel that emptiness that you feel. God is the only one who's supposed to feel that emptiness. Because we skip that step when we're supposed to build that relationship with God, who feels that emptiness. So now we're trying to find it in someone else who can't feel that emptiness, because you were supposed to feel that emptiness when it was you and God's time. But we didn't. So we're over here causing pain and headache, and we're being the toxic ones to other people because we didn't do our parts. Come on now, what are we doing? So this point is very serious, and your season of singleness is very serious. I cannot stress this enough. Your season of singleness is very important, because your partner is not going to feel anything that you were not okay with before you got with them. They're not gonna feel that. And we did go a little bit over that in the last part. The next point, you're still single when you're married. Okay? And that's what I mean when Pastor Mike keeps bringing up like married, you know. But you're still single when you're in a relationship. Okay? And we're going to learn about that a little bit later. But you are still single when you're in a relationship. When you're married, you are still single. Society's problem isn't a relationship problem. It's a singleness problem. You see all these divorces, all of these breakups, is because it's not the relationship that's a problem, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you has been in a lot of relationships. So that's not the problem here in society. The problem is a singleness problem, and we're gonna see why. First main point of the second part is it is most important to be single than it is to be married. It is most important to be single than it is to be married. And married, a relationship, married, you know what I mean. I explained at the beginning. I'm not trying to explain again. So really, so married, every time you hear me say married, marriage, just think of relationship. Because when you're in a relationship, your goal should be marriage. And we're gonna keep learning, and you're gonna see why this makes sense. And the second main point is marriage is only as good, marriage/relationship is only as good as your singleness, because marriage does not improve your singleness. It exposes it. It exposes it. Let me read that one more time. Marriage/relationship is only as good as your singleness. Marriage does not improve your singleness. It exposes it. It exposes it. Say before you got married, you had a bad habit of always leaving your clothes on the floor. Like when you came from work, you took your clothes off, left it on the floor. At the end of the day, left your clothes right on the floor. When you get married, you think the habit's gonna get better? It's gonna get worse. I mean, not worse. What am I talking about? It's not gonna get worse. You're gonna be exposed. Your partner's gonna be like, ooh, who did I marry? Like, child. So that's what it means. It's gonna expose you when you're in a relationship. All those nasty flaws and nasty habits that you have, they're gonna get exposed. They're gonna get exposed. I'm telling you. Those things are not gonna improve, because, like I said, like we have learned before the person, this is when that is our season to improve and change and get better and be our best self. It's not when we're in a relationship that can happen. Sorry. You only get preoccupied showing off when you're not working on what you have inside of you. If you work on what God has inside of you, you ain't got time to show off your body. Okay. Woo. Woo. Wait a minute. This is a good point. So we only get preoccupied showing off what we're not working on. You only get preoccupied when you're showing off. Because you're not working on what's inside of you. Because if we were working on what's inside of us, we wouldn't have time to be showing off. But because we're so preoccupied showing off, we're not working on what's inside of us. God have mercy on us. This is such a good point. Because if we're working on what God has inside of us, we wouldn't have time to show off our bodies. We wouldn't. Wow. And man, oh, I'm just thinking, like, reflecting on my own life. That's why I'm just in shock right now, and I'm just in silence. Like, I'm starting to put two and two together. And transferring back to his third main point of his presentation, it says, it is okay to be single, but it is not good to be alone. And I think this is my favorite point of this part too. It is okay to be single, but it is not okay to be alone. So most of the time we confuse singleness with alone. We think that our single season is lonely time. No, not at all. No, these are two different things, and he's gonna go into it and explain it well. Genesis 2:18 says, the Lord God said, it is not good for a man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. What is the actual definition of being alone? Alone, having no one else present. Having no one else present. Having no one else present. Like, we need to really be careful the next time we say that we are alone. That means having absolutely nobody there. Okay? It is not good for us to be in that state. Alone is not the same as singleness. And then we're going to go into explaining what singleness is. So our season of singleness means, one, we're separate. We're apart, detached, different. So this is what should be cultivating and taking place and being planted in us during our season of singleness. And that's why it's so important. We have to be separate, apart, detached, different, because we're made after God's image and we're called to be different. We're called to be set apart. Two, unique, original, distinctive, and special. Because when we are unique and original, especially during our season of singleness, and we're able to develop these traits that God has in us, and we're able to open our eyes and see that we are special, we are like no one else. When we don't skip the season of singleness and we know these things, let me read the third one before I say this. And whole, complete, unified one with self, to be one. So when we actually enjoy the season of singleness to the fullest, and we realize that we're separate, we are unique, and most importantly, we are whole. By yourself, you're whole. You are complete within oneself. If we enjoy and take and use the season of singleness to the full capacity, we're not gonna let little Johnny from down the street come into our hearts and mess up the hard thing that we worked on. Girl. We're not gonna just let any random boy come up and try to be with me. If I worked so hard on myself during my season of singleness so that I can make sure that I'm unique and I'm special and I'm separate and I'm whole and I'm unified one with self, I'm not just gonna let any random person come and try to be with me, because I worked too hard on myself and I see my value and I see my worth. And so that's why A lot of times we end up with people who damage us because we don't see how much we're worth. We don't see how special we are. We end up with people who haven't fully used up their season of singleness so they can see how unique and special they are. And so it's just two people who didn't fully enjoy their season of singleness, who are not complete, who are not whole within themselves, trying to piece together things that are never going to be pieced together. Because they're still full. We think, oh, I'm half, I need to find my other half. Your half is not even ready yet. How are you going to find your other half? Your half is not ready. Come on now. The season of singleness is so important. More singleness, better relationships. More singleness, better relationships. The more people who take advantage of their season of singleness, the more better relationships we would have. The more single you are and the more in time period, like even, I don't know, because people, okay, the time period for being single is different for a lot of different people. It just depends on you, your journey and your process. That's why we can't really put a number to it. Like at this age, like we can't, it just depends on you. You could be 30 and still you're not ready. You could be 20 and you're ready. You could be 18 and you're ready. So it just depends on the person truly. Like it really just depends on the person and the process. You could be 50 and not ready. So it all depends on you. But the more you use up your season of singleness, the better your relationship is going to be. Like, it just makes sense. Like, if you're your best self and your boo thing is their best self, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to really beat relationship goals. Like, just imagine that for a quick second. Like, you're your best self. Like, you're a bright star. And then your boo thing is a bright star. You're gonna, together. Ooh, you're going to be untouchable. You're going to be unstoppable. Like, that is just so beautiful. Like, just beautiful, beautiful. Like, God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing. God knows. I'm telling you, God is one smart man. Like, he put all these things in order for a reason. For a reason. And he's trying to tell us, look here, love God, love yourself, love others. That's the order. And we're like, no, boo-boo kitty. I'm going to love others. And I'm going to try to love myself. And hopefully I can love you. Like, come on now. Why can't we just stick to the steps that God has in store for us? He does mention, and we're going to cover a little bit more later in the series on relationship and marriage. But he does talk about how you can still be working on your singleness even when you're in a relationship. So that's also important to know. And that's why it's just important to pray, honestly, through every step that you go through, to just pray and ask God and let him lead you to when you're ready. Because even though you move away from your season of singleness, when you do get in a relationship or marriage, you can still work on yourself, on your singleness. So it could get confusing. That's why God is the only person who can tell you and let you know if you're ready for that next step. And that's why it's important to have a relationship with him, so you can talk to him and he can let you know. But if you don't have that relationship with him, then you're not going to be able to hear his voice, or you're going to be like, is that God? So that's why it's very important to do those things before the person. What the enemy can destroy, he distracts. What the enemy can destroy, it distracts. What the enemy can destroy, it distracts. And that is so true. A lot of things Satan can destroy. So what does he do? He distracts. Like, okay, I know there are times when I'm, say, listening to, I try not to listen to rap music. Like, you won't find me listening to rap music actually at all. So when I'm like listening, to gospel music and Christian music, etc., listening to the word of God, things like that, Satan always distracts me. Like, he randomly, like, I don't know how, like I would be listening to something like a word of God or something, and then out of nowhere I just accidentally press something, and then like it'd be something good, like that I'm interested, like worldly things that I'm interested in. And I'm like, Satan, this is you, like, stop it, leave me alone. I'm trying to listen to the word of God. So like, he knows he can destroy that, so he tries to distract. And that's the same thing. Satan knows he can't destroy people getting in relationships, godly relationships, good relationships. He knows he can't destroy that. So what he does instead is, no, I'm sorry. So Satan knows he can't destroy us because he can't touch our souls. He knows he can't destroy something that's unique, something that's special, something that's whole. So what does he do? So we don't get to that point. He distracts us into making us think that we're lonely, into making us think that we need someone when we're not ready for someone just yet. So I think that's what Pastor Mike was really trying to say when he made that point. The next bullet point that I wrote from his message is results of not spending proper time in singleness results in hurting people. And that is true. When we don't use our season of singleness the right way, it's just, we're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. Have you ever been in school and you've heard like, oh, a bully has gone through something, or like they have a hard past, or like they're hurt, like like, look for the rooted problem of this bully. Like, it's always something. And if you hear stories like of bullies, they have been through something. So it's like those bullies are hurting other people because they hurt themselves. So when you're not full, when you're not there yet, and you're not ready to be with someone, then it's just hurt people hurting other people. So we're going around hurting other people because we are not ready. And that's just the cycle that keeps going on. And Satan keeps finding all these ways to distract us from what a real relationship, a real godly relationship should look like. And he distracts us to thinking that we are ready. He distracts us in so many ways, because relationships are like key in our lives, any type of relationship. So he always uses distractions to really get to us, because he knows he can destroy how special each and every one of us are. When we are complete, we don't settle on counterparts. When we are complete, we don't settle on counterparts. When we are complete, we don't settle for counterparts. We don't settle for garbage when we're complete. I'm a queen. I need me a king. Not a prince, a king. When we get in a place where it's just us and God, and we know how to love ourselves, flaws and all, and we start running after our purpose and become who God has created us to be, we would get with our counterfeit, because we have worked too hard on ourselves. We're worth more now. When we think someone is going to complete us, we hurry to get with them. But when we are complete by ourselves, we can be choosy. We can be picky. And this is like word for word what Pastor Mike said. When he said this, and guys, rewind that part and just listen to that. When he said this, so the first time I watched these series, I didn't just watch them all straightforward. Like, I watched piece by piece so I could start working on myself and things like that. And I would go back and watch certain pieces. So, you know, life happens and situations happen. And, you know, I was just like doing some self-reflections, and I'm like, am I being too picky? Like, come on now, like, what is going on? I have too many things on my checklist that I want from people and what I accept, and, you know, just things like that. And I'm like, am I being too choosy, like too picky? But when I read this, I was like, no, I'm not, because I am worth that. I deserve my counterfeit. I deserve my counterfeit. And I'm just going to read that statement one more time, and I'm putting on the screen too. When we get in a place where just us and God, and we learn how to love ourselves, flaws and all, and we start running after our purpose and become who God has created us to be, we'd get with our counterfeit, because we have worked too hard on us. We're worth more now. When we think someone is going to complete us, we hurry to get with them. But when we are complete by ourselves, we can be choosy and picky. Your partner is a reflection of you. Your partner is a reflection of you. It's true. Your partner should be a reflection of you. So if you just get with old boy down the street, you're going to be divorced. Because your partner is supposed to be a reflection of you. That's why you get to be choosy and picky. Because you spend all this time during your time of singleness and you work so hard on yourself, you're not just going to be with any random person. You're not just going to give your heart to any random person. You're not just going to waste your time giving your heart to random people. You're going to be choosy and picky and make sure you get with the right person, because relationships can destroy. So that is it, my lovely people. Thank you for tuning in on another episode of Try Again, This Time with God. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.